Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of heights. It's just I'm afraid of that kind of work. I don't know.
Well, that's why they call us prima donnas, plumbers, pipe fitters, all the other trades. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and like every video, see they're making fun of us. You're like a prima donna. I'm like, just because I don't want to do your job doesn't mean I'm a prima donna.
Right.
Hey, everybody, this is the Make Trades Great Again podcast. We have a special guest. Andy and I want to welcome Colton Henkowski, the infamous or the famous or the infamous. I don't know.
I've never gotten what that means. I've never understood.
I don't either. I don't either. I just go with the famous Viking pipe fitter on Instagram or your other socials, I suppose. How you doing, man?
Doing real well. Enjoying life. How's the squad today?
We're doing good.
Yeah, we're doing good. You're out in Colorado still?
Still in Colorado. I was born and raised in Colorado, Denver, Colorado. So I'm like a unicorn out here. 60% of our population in Colorado is not from Colorado anymore. So we are actually literally outnumbered by the people who moved here. It's kind of annoying, but here we are.
Yeah, it's a Western Mountain States thing.
Good God. I just lie about it now when people are like, oh, it's so beautiful and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, nope. I'm like, it sucks. It's too hot when the summers. It's too cold in the winters. Like, it's always snowing. Like, you guys are going to hate it. You do not want to be here.
It has STDs. No, I mean, yep. Sorry. Oh, come on. That's a good joke.
No swearing, but you can talk about STDs. I get it. I see where this podcast is going right off the bat.
Don't move to Colorado. This is taking a turn already. Don't move to Colorado. The highest rate of STD. I'm just kidding. I'm making stuff up now. I think what's the governor? He's gonna call me, or he or she. They're gonna call the Make Trades Great Again podcast.
Like, what the hell, dude?
They listen to the show. Most governors do. Most governors,
yeah. Heavy governor presence on the Make.
We do. Yep. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know where it came from. Yeah. And both sides of the aisle is bipartisan. And
the only bipartisan thing we have. It's just...
Yeah, we are the common thread that will weave this country back together. Oh boy. Okay. Wow. I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to hand it over to Andy.
Yeah. So we've all known you, through the Viega stuff, and going on. Shoot us a little background. What got you in the trades? Let's get a little bit of your background. I'm just curious.
I like to say it's almost an accidental career. My dad's super mechanical. My dad's a mechanical engineer, but he got to being a mechanical engineer from like working on the trucks and stuff. My family's been in meat packing for years. So like my grandfather, my great grandfather, we're all like plant managers of meat packing plants, starting off in Iowa. Okay. So we've always been mechanical. I worked on like motorcycles and cars and stuff as a kid, holding a flashlight, doing that kind of stuff. We'd like rebuild bikes. And then we go sell them to people so that we could have nice motorcycles and stuff like that. But basically, I was going to go to college, and that was like a fizzle out thing for me. Like, I never liked school. It was never my deal. Like, absolutely hated being there. I basically got good enough grades so that I could play sports because I thought I was going to be like a sports star or something. We all know how that works out. There's like less than a single % of the population that ever does anything. Plus, nobody tells you got to have good grades to go to college so you can play sports. You can't just show up with like D's and F's and expect to go to college. So I had a couple scholarships. If you guys know DU, it's like Denver University. So like lawyers and stuff go there, but they're also really good at lacrosse. So I thought I was going to go there for lacrosse. And then they told me like, hey, your grades are horrible. Why don't you go to this like 2A school? And if you go to the 2A school for a year, you can get your grades up and then you can come take the scholarship at DU. And I was like, guys, like, honestly, like my grades are already horrible. If you think me going to college and partying and getting into all that stuff is going to magically make my grades better, it's not going to happen. So I had my dad's buddy who was a pipe fitter at the time in the local union. And he said he was looking for young guys who had a driver's license. And I was like, hey, I am a young guy and I also have a driver's license.
And I need a job.
Check.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Are you paying money for this?
It worked out super well for me. I think some people know I have diabetes. So like I had to have some kind of job that was going to offer a good health insurance, basically, so I didn't die. So that was the plan, just have a job. work it out. Did that for about 3 years into my apprenticeship, and found out that I just absolutely loved it. Like, I enjoyed doing more of the same stuff and working with my hands. And they kind of moved me up probably quicker than they should have. So they made me a foreman and put me in a truck in my 3rd year of the apprenticeship. So I'm running guys that are like 50, 60, and they are pissed off about life. You know what I mean? Like, they're so sad that the 23-year-old is somehow the boss. So I made a whole lot of mistakes, which is super cool. Actually, I kind of appreciated it. Like, I screwed stuff up left, right, up, and down. But it's like those hard mistakes where you lose your company money and stuff that you start to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. So I got super lucky through all that, just finding a career that allowed me to be a dumb young kid and make a whole bunch of money. So worked out really well. My wife and I actually bought our first house. I think that was probably the year. I think I was 21 or 22 when we bought our first house, and you guys know Denver. So now I'm basically rich because I bought a house before the boom happened. So I'm just, I'm just rolling in the money because of house value. But yeah, that's my brief interlude into just randomly kind of falling into something I actually like.
Yeah. What part of Denver are you at, Colton? Where are you at?
If you guys know the area, I would call it Southeast Denver. So I'm not like in the city or anything. I'm not like downtown. Right. It's kind of like a little suburb, but Denver's huge. Yeah. So our first house, me and my wife, our first house was in like the straight up ghetto. Like, if anybody's from Colorado, they'll know Havana and Colfax. That's the intersection. I was like 2 blocks off of it. And that's like crackheads getting chased down in your front lawn, cops getting called on my neighbors because the 13-year-olds shooting guns at the school. Like, it was an intense neighborhood, but it was the only place we could buy. So, I mean, it worked out great. We sold that house to some poor family from Oregon, sight unseen. So they bought it basically online. And the house looked beautiful. I'd done the landscaping and all that. So I'm sure they bought it and like pulled up into that neighborhood and were like, what the hell are we getting into? Like, what is going on? So we made a boatload of money off of them.
That's perfect. That's I mean, that's the way the real estate's supposed to work, right?
Yeah. It worked out.
Swindle them. Yep. Swindling. Yeah. Just swindle them online. Sight unseen.
Well, and our realtor's like, we need to like drop the price. I'm like, no, it's a super nice house. Like, I'm not dropping the price. She's like, nobody wants to buy it. Like, it's not happening. She wanted to drop it like $40,000. I was like, not happening. It was like a week later. We were just waiting around, and she's like, I got an offer. It's a family from Oregon. I was like, oh, I was like, it's a family. And I was like, do they have kids? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, I felt kind of bad, but I was like, you know, like, here we go.
That's due diligence.
To learn some lessons.
We drive by every now and then. We drive by, and I make sure that like everything's fine. I'm like, they look like they're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Neighborhood's all nice now. They're like converted everybody into like, you know, just behaving. They got barbecues every Saturday. You're like, son of a bitch, it should stayed there. It's kind of a nice neighborhood.
You know what? I kind of I'm on the opposite end. Like, we're the like nicest family, all friendly and stuff in that neighborhood. Now the neighborhood I'm in now, we're like 2 blocks from my wife's parents. It's super fancy. It's like doctors and lawyers. Like, I have no business being in this neighborhood because there's like my dirty old cars like parked on the lawn so I can wash them. And I'm doing like oil changes in the driveway. And I got like a dirt pile on the side yard. And these people, like, I'm sure they look at me like, what is going on? Like, this dude's dropping value. Like, how did he get in here?
Yeah. Who approved this?
Nobody said they had to use your house for a comp. That's all there's to
That's
it.
Right.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So yeah,
ahead,
that's, I was just going to say, I mean, that as you get into the trades, it's kind of like what everybody wants to be, right? You know, it's what everybody wants to do. They want to find that position where you're learning stuff and you're cranking out work and doing your thing. So no, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
When did you go ahead? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. It was fun to get there. I think, I think if you get into the trades, as long as you want to learn and try, people are always like, how do you get ahead in the trades? I'm like, I just showed up every day and told them that I wanted more and did the work that they gave to me. Like, It wasn't like, there's no like crazy blueprint to it. It's one of the few jobs in the world where it's like, go work hard, learn, and they're going to pay you for it. It's awesome.
I think a lot of people miss that cue card, that note, whatever it is. Like, I love hearing people ask that question, but then I wonder, because maybe I just don't know them, you know, but I wonder if like there is a secret sauce to it, thinking, is this person asking me like how they can get ahead, like cheat the system, or are they just genuinely interested, like, if I keep doing what I'm doing, am I on the right path? You know what I mean? Because it's kind of, that's, you know, there's a fine line between like, how did you get to the point where you're at, or how do I do it without as much work? You know what I mean? I don't know if that's even what people are asking when they ask that question.
Well, and if they're asking the
common than
question,
not,
how do
right?
I do it without as much work? They're not the right. It's not the right spot for them
No,
anyway.
yeah.
'Cause
No,
it just-
no, I don't think that they're not
No.
saying those words, but I wonder, you know what I mean? Like maybe I'm
Yeah.
just being cynical.
No, I agree. And if you
Yeah.
are being cynical, it could be true. And I'm saying like it ain't gonna happen in the trades. Like that little like jump over without doing stuff, it doesn't exist. At least where I'm from and what I've dealt with, which is what I always appreciated. I'm like, nobody's jumping the line unless they've done something to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you have like the skilled trades, I think, you know, there's a lot of licenses involved, certifications. Like you don't just walk onto certain sites and be like, I'm here, put me to work, you know. I remember having to fill out government paperwork and stuff to go work at the power plant, and I thought, boy, this is like, you know, I was young and hadn't done it prior to that, and I thought, this is crazy. Like I just, a couple of weeks ago, I was just roughing in a house, you know what I mean? Like whatever. Now I'm getting background checks, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yep. I was the unfortunate soul at my company. I was the only guy who wasn't like a felon. I didn't have any records or anything weird like that. So if we had like an Air Force job or like a big government something, they're like, well, send Colton. And I'm like, these are the hardest, stupidest jobs. They're the worst to get on. Like you can't ever get the crew you want. But I was just the only guy, literally the only person in our company that they could send there without getting in trouble. We sent one guy to Buckley Air Force Base and they arrested him at the gate. Like he was supposed to be coming to my job to help me. And he never showed up. And I was like, dude, this guy never came to work. And my boss was like, oh, yeah, dude, he's in jail now. And I was like, great. I was like, perfect.
He got picked up at security.
they have to hand him his paycheck. Well, I guess this is yours. You know?
Yeah.
Well, dude, he was an amazing welder, too. Like, of course, I was like, perfect. Like, my main dude that I really wanted is gone.
Yeah.
I worked with a guy on an ethanol plant in southern Minnesota. I was welding pipe, and he was the fitter. He was my fitter. And I was a plumber, just traveling. There was no work, and I was good pipe welder at the time. I'm at least passable. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, I worked with a lot of fitters, but this guy I'm talking about, honest to God, there's no way this guy wasn't like, he was looking over his shoulder every day, like he was going to be arrested. Well, he's like holding a 4-inch stainless 90 so I could tack it up. He's like doing this. I'm like, dude, you've been here for like 6 months and they love you. I don't think like we're doing fine. I don't think they're going to arrest you, or they're even going to allow somebody to come in and arrest you. The guy was on the run. Oh.
We did a project at the U.S. What was it? It's a U.S. District Court that's here in Missoula, and we were working on this project, and the people that did all the maintenance, like janitorial staff there, would handle all of the, you know, getting maintenance staff in and out of the building and whatnot. And there was a weekend project, and they had this crew of drywallers in the building, in the U.S. District Court building. Well, they're like, hey, here's your project, whatever. It's somewhere along the line, the U.S. Marshals had an office on the main floor, and they catch in the security, these two drywallers going through this U.S. Marshals office, like, you know, on a Saturday, like rummaging through stuff. And it was just like, you know, one of those. You're like, whoa.
Were they looking for their own paperwork? They're like, I'm not getting
Who knows?
this weekend.
Who knows? But the job didn't get done. Let's just put it that way.
Not by them.
Not by them. After that, we all had GSA clearance.
I thought
I thought
the story.
on hold.
Well, I thought you were going to include that, like they hired these drywallers, but to get them to work, they had to give them cases of Monster energy drinks or something to pee in. By the way,
Right.
Poor drywallers get such a bad
Always-
name, man.
Always picked on.
I think everything is earned on the job site. That's what I'm going to say right now. I'm just
All
going
I'm
to put
gonna
that
say
out there.
I agree. Have you ever tried to drywall?
It sucks.
Dude, it's horrible. Like every time I'm like, I'm so glad there's other people that will take money to do this. I'm like, I don't want to do this shit.
Right.
You can't pay me enough to drywall or roof. Like that's it. Like I don't care if it's flat roofing or shingle, you know, asphalt shingles on a house. Like I won't do it. It's
Yeah.
And I'm not afraid of heights. It's just I'm afraid of that kind of work. I don't know.
Well, that's why they call us prima donnas, plumbers, pipe fitters, all the other trades. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and like every video, see they're making fun of us. You're like a prima donna. I'm like, just because I don't want to do your job doesn't mean I'm not. I'm a prima donna.
Right.
No, every time I go and like attempt something like that on my own, which is not often, but I've done it over the years. You know, I've poured my own concrete for this or that. And it's like, I think like I am not qualified to do this. I'm qualified. Like I have the skills, the motor skill. I have the motor skills. I don't have the knowledge or the like finesse, but I can like move a trowel around. I'm like, this is it's so bad. It's so bad. Nobody should ever pay $1 for this. Like I should pay you to not do my, or so that I don't have to do my concrete. That's like the end of the story right there.
Yeah.
I drywalled my own garage at the old place because I just wanted it insulated. And I was taping and mudding, dude. And it's like if you're a bad welder, you have to be a good grinder. Like if you're a bad drywaller, you have to be an amazing sander, dude. I sanded in the garage for like 4 days. It's just like it never. Like I was like, it'll never be smooth. I was like, we're just painting it. Like we're done. Like it's now paint time. Like this is what it's gonna be. Like it looked like horrible. It just looked horrible.
Yeah. Can we get some of that stucco paint that's really lumpy?
Yeah. Let's texture all these walls.
Right.
Now
it's a garage where like it's the only way it's going to look good.
Now it's slat wall. Any garage I have, I just put slat wall across every single inch of it. And Audrey's like, what is all this stuff? I'm like, well, it's a hanging system. I'm like, really, it's just covering up everything that I suck at.
But like, it's covering my crappy drywall.
Yeah, but this is the living room. It's utilitarian. This is a multi-purpose room now.
Yeah. I kind of love that you pointed that out because I have slat wall in my we have too many rooms. We have 5 rooms in our house. Like there's only 2 of us. So we have a room for every dog, cat, and human being in the house. So I have a dressing room because I'm that kind of guy. I'm fancy. And in the dressing room, I have slat walls on the walls. I like hang hats and stuff on it. It's just like, what is this stuff? I'm like, carbon fiber slat wall. Like it'll never come down. Like you could put a purse on there, whatever you want.
Timeless.
It's timeless. My wife would be like, yeah, timeless. Time for this to go. That's what it would be. Okay, Colton. So you got into it as a pipe fitter, kind of happened upon it by a little necessity, but you found interest in it early on. But I know you're pretty young. You're in your 30s, correct?
I'm 35. I know I look like I'm like 25, but yeah, I'm 35.
So you must not have done it, I mean, for an incredibly long time. And now, by the time you served your apprenticeship, you were working as a pipe fitter for a while. All of a sudden, I bet you it wasn't too long before we met you as the Viking pipe fitter on Instagram, and you're working for a big old fitting manufacturer.
Yeah, I felt like an old man, to be honest. Like I felt like an old man by the time I was ready to make that transition. And like really, I don't blame my company, but starting out as a foreman in my 3rd year and ending up as a superintendent as a young guy, y'all know how that is. It just ages you. Like you have to act like a grown up. You have to take care of other people. It pushes you into it just pushes you quicker. So by the time I hit a younger age, I think I was 29, 30 by the time I went to Viega. I felt like I'd been in the trades my whole life. You know what I mean? And I'd been working with my dad as a kid. So what I was looking for was a career advancement. So I'm like, hey, I'm a superintendent. Great. Now I do this for the rest of my life. Like I'm in a union. This is how much money I make. I know when like we're going to get cost of living raises. Like this is my life forever. And to be completely honest, that scared the ever loving hell out of me because I get bored real fast. Like as soon as I'm good at something, I'm like, well, this is ruined now. Like I'm good at it now.
Moving on.
Because like I've mastered this skill. Like it's the worst thing ever. So I don't know if that's the ADHD. Yeah. And oh man. So I don't know if you guys know. So I go to counseling for that because it's like an eternal thing for me. As soon as I get good at something or I've done something, I like turn to hating it. So I still was loving it, but I was just looking for anything to move forward and make my life a little bit better. One of my really good buddies, who was a plumber foreman at the same company I was at as a pipe fitter, had already made the move to Viega when they opened their North American headquarters in Broomfield, Colorado. And I'd been kind of like chit-chatting with him. He's like, dude, we need another trainer. Like, you could come over and do it. And kind of once again, I feel like I'm a really lucky guy. Somebody said, hey, you could do this. So I was like, perfect. I was like, set up the interview. And I went and interviewed, and you know those interviews. Hey, my buddy's coming. He's really good at this stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's like the shoe-in interview where you just go talk to somebody and you both tell each other how great you are. So I got that job at Viega. I don't know. I feel like that's probably my main skill. Like, I am a good pipe fitter. I'm good at everything that I do in my own opinion. But I feel like I'm really good. I don't know if you want to call it schmoozer, but a great people person, to where like I can just kind of walk in a room, just have a so got that job, and honestly, Viega served me super well. They're a giant corporation, so that was something new for me. I don't know if you guys ever dealt with that at all.
Not as an employee, no. We we do business with companies like Viega, obviously, and like I sit in on meetings and stuff, and oftentimes I'm thinking like, I'm so out of place here. I mostly keep my mouth shut because I'll offend anybody at any turn with what I think is a perfectly good statement or straight to the point. Most people in corporate don't go straight to the point. They say a lot of nice words to dress it up, and that's not me. It's not you. It's not it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little more Andy. Andy could probably make it before me. He has what they call tact. Like he has. I don't have that, so like I couldn't do it. I don't think I could have done even close to what you did. Not like I would compare myself to you, but like I don't think I look at what you were doing. I'm thinking there's no way I wouldn't last very long at all.
It's completely different, and I think that's where I found a special kind of value, and it's in the same thing I do now, where I brought this like real world. Like, they're super corporate, they get the business side, they're gonna make the perfect fitting, blah blah blah, but they need somebody, at least one person in the 1,000 employees that they have, that kind of speaks the people's language and kind of bring like a real world perspective to what they're trying to do. So that's what I got drawn into with them. That's how I got drawn into like doing the social side, because they're doing good on social, but it was all very like, it was kind of corporate, right? Like, it was like, hey, look at our fittings. Hey, check this thing out. Hey, look at this new product we have. So that's when I started doing videos for them and just trying to push the limit as much as they would let me. So that's how I kind of got my own page. I could swear, I could cuss, I could make it super frank, and then they could kind of bit and parse that down into something they could actually put onto their page and use, with minus the swearing and all that kind of stuff. So that's how that worked out. And honestly, at that company, I was a technical trainer. So it was like technical sales. People would come in, show them awesome product. You guys have been to the training center out in Nashua. Hey, look at all this cool stuff. Now go buy it, type of deal. And just explain it really well. So that was cool. And then I work on the marketing side. They have different campaigns, like, how are we going to talk to the customers? How do we push this? How do we push this? And I get brought into those rooms to be like, yeah, that's stupid. That ain't going to work. Like, nobody in the field is going to care that you're saying that or doing that type of deal. So it was just like a cool little symbiosis there between us. And I really did like it, but I did it for 4 years and I got really good at it. And I'm sure I've talked to you guys online. There's no question I can't answer. I'll still do it for people if they want to hit me up about Viega. Like, I don't think there's a thing I don't know about it. Even the new valves that they're coming out with and stuff. I was on that project releasing the valves, so I was training the entire company on those new valves before I left. So I'm still ready for that kind of stuff. But once I get good at something, dude, I hate it. And I was like bored. I'd show up to work and I'd like log on to a meeting and I'd be like, hey guys, pro press 250 degrees EPDM sealing element, and it just started like itching at me a little bit every single day.
Yeah, I've been using that product for a long time, so it was cool to see you come along for, as one of the faces for a company that I had been doing business with and then been buying the product in my business too. It was just cool finally to see that change. I actually remember the early days of their social when the marketing manager previous had actually got it approved through Germany, and the rest of the company, internationally was not even like online other than a website. Terrible websites, really. And and when the social started, I wouldn't have ever guessed it would have gone as far as them allowing you to like really just make like your own video in response to comments and addressing like real things that are being talked about in the industry. Like, that was an evolution, although short. a long time coming, but a very short amount of time, it went from corporate videos to who's this guy? Like, wait, what's his name? But he works for Viega? Like, he has tattoos,
Dude, that was like my favorite part, was that people would like try to argue with me on something and they'd be like, Vega says otherwise, and I'd be like, no, bro, like I am Vega. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I am the source of this information. And I'm not gonna lie to you, a lot of like troubles, apps and stuff that came along with that. Like, there was times when I almost got fired. There was a lot of things that came with the social side, because like you're like the evolution that they approved, like, it was
yeah,
we were playing
that.
yeah, we were definitely playing in some gray areas there a lot. But I enjoyed it, and it seemed like everybody else really liked what was going on. But you can kind of see that little flip flop back towards the other way of doing things once I left. I think there's probably a little bit of both. I think they were probably sad to lose me in a lot of areas, and there's probably a couple areas where like, yeah, go have fun somewhere else, bud. Like, go not be here for a while. You know what I mean?
Less mandatory impromptu meetings, like
right.
We got to get on the call with Germany. You got to come in at 6 a.m. because we got to get on the call with Germany.
Yeah. And like, there's a couple times where it got real intense, where I was like, man, I might have screwed this up. And I'm like talking to my wife, like, we'll see what happens type of deal. But luckily I'm a pipe fitter and I still hold my card. So like, I guess I might go back to.
Okay.
Well,
that's like riding a bike.
I was actually going to ask you that question. I mean, I know I was listening. I heard you when you said like, I did it. I got good at it. I want to do something different. But there's always that, like, maybe I want to go back to it. Now, I'll bring this up. So, like I brought up before we hit record, a close friend of mine who is a former pipe fitter, but he's my boiler rep that I buy a lot of boilers from. Good guy. He is, I think he's like 15 years in the outside rep kind of, he works for a big rep agency, and he's out in the field all the time, dealing with hunyucks like me, like trying to figure out problems. And he always has like this conversation going on between him and I, kind of off to the side. It gets brought up nearly every time we're on the phone. And he's like, I think I'm going to go back onto the tools. And I remind him, like, dude, like, my job sucks in comparison. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, like, I love what I do. But if I had like a boss and a paycheck and like, this is what we're going to do this week, that would be so much easier in so many ways. Not to say your job is easy. That's not what I mean. But like trying to remind him, like, actually your job isn't that bad. You might have bad days, but how about crawling under somebody's freaking, house, or, like just tracking down a $300 payment on an invoice, like to save my life. Like, are you kidding me? I got a mortgage to pay. You people pay your bills,
Yep.
That kind of, like, you want to go back to something like that? I don't think so. So would you go back? Would you do something like, would you become self-employed in your industry somehow, in some way?
I mean,
or is that not the work you did?
I don't know. I don't think I'm the guy to run my own business. Like, I do like artsy stuff and things like that, and I do the ambassador programs and stuff. Maybe I don't think I'm not mature enough yet, but I don't think I'd be the guy to run a business and chase down work. I'd be the type of guy that get like $3,000 off a job, and I'd be like, well, I'm good for the month. Like, that's my mortgage. And I would just like hang out. Like, I'm not that guy who's going to like find new jobs or anything, but I definitely go back to the union. So I always hold that card. I still pay my dues. I keep up with my buddies and stuff there. It's like, I always said that's why I can treat my job differently. And everybody at Viega was always scared. What if I lose my job? And I was like, I don't care at all. I'm like, tomorrow could be my last day. I call the hall and I'm working tomorrow. Like, there's no like end to this for me, which gives you a whole lot of freedom in work. And that's why I got away with all the stuff I did on social, right? Because like I could be a little bit daring and be like, yeah, guys, get rid of me. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And we like move forward. You know what I mean? So that's the coolest part about being in the trades. Especially for me, at least being in the union, like I have this back door in my entire life that I can always fall back. Like, it is literally always there and waiting, and it's always ready to rock. So it feels comfortable. It makes my life simple.
Well, and that's a thing too, and I don't know, over the years, told so many apprentices, it's just like, go you got this opportunity, right? And you get it, non-union as well. The union side of it affords that, oh, I'm going to go get my backflow license, right? Okay, that's a $3,000 course outside of the UA. Through the UA, you've paid your monthly dues. Have a good time. It's going to cost you $100 to take the test, or whatever the cost is. The med gas and, all of these different directions in the plumbing side of it that are really easy ways to go out and be like, hey, I specialized in this. I have this certificate. And so long as you've kept it up, nobody's going to take it away.
Yep.
And it's easy to be able to go in and like broaden your horizon for very little input on your end, other than, hey, go sit on this class, go braze some pipe together, figure out how this works on the, and get a med gas cert. And yeah, guess what? I just got a job at Intel, and, we're going to go work in some clean room stuff because I have a med gas license and I'm a plumber.
You're
Hell yeah.
very ambitious in your outlook.
I'm just saying.
I look at it like this. I was told once when I had a foreman tell me one time, and I'll never forget it. And I've heard other people say this too. It's a skill. They can't ever take it away from you. Whatever that skill is, right? Like you're a roofer, God forbid, you're a plumber, piper, electrician, something like once you learn that and you don't even have to master it. You just get proficient at it. They can't take that away. Right. That's what you're saying. I hear that, but kind of jokingly or not, I look at it like, I am now like qualified to go pretty much anywhere I want to. Like, I want to retire in Greece, and I'm like, I would be a good plumber in Greece. I could totally.
You'd be a great plumber in Greece. You'd be a plumber in Greece.
Exactly. So I'm like, you can't take it away from me, but I can take it with me. Like, I'm gonna go do this now, and like, we also there are many skills in the trades that are transferable and valuable like everywhere in the world. Obviously, just having the skill of like knowing how to work hard, show up, that kind of thing is one thing, but we need manufacturing, we need plumbing, we need health and safety, we need cooling and comfort, we need all that, like no matter where we live. You know what I mean?
I like the weld. So like I found out early on you got paid more to be a welder. So like certs equaled money. So I was like, what? Like I'm already here. Like I will be getting every single weld cert that exists. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. So by the time I turned out, I had like 6 or 7 weld certs because you could get them in class. You just schedule it, make sure you're ready. And then by the time I was a foreman, dude, I had like 14 or 15 different weld certs for, downhill, stainless, TIG, ball, all these different things. And I always called it. So I had my company, and they're like, we need to know your certs and stuff so we can apply for jobs. So I had the Colton is a badass file, and I literally labeled that and I saved it as that. And every time I got something, if I got a new star training or something, I'm like, hey, make sure to put that in my Colton is a badass file. And like all I knew was like on there, and they're like, this guy, dude, like he just every time he does this, it's another 25 cents an hour, it's another 30 cents an hour. Like he just keeps like stacking this money, and I'm like, well. And the best part is I'd be out running like a pro press job. Like me and my crew, we'd be putting in like 3/4 inch pro press. And I'm like, thanks for paying me for those 14 stainless steel TIG root weld certs. Like this is
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, so what's you're at a local wholesaler in the Denver area. Yeah, working inside, doing training and a lot of inventory kind of stuff, like new products and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was ready to move away from the giant corporation. So I had Big Brother. That's kind of what it felt like. I always had Big Brother looking over, being like, I don't know about this. I don't know about that. We had a good relationship. They enjoyed me for bringing that blue collar. They also didn't like that I was, not wearing the fancy pants and coming in Carhartts and looking all dirty and beat up when I'm supposed to be a professional, everything that comes with that. Yeah. So I got I want to call it headhunted. This dude found me on LinkedIn, who was at like a bunch of the HVAC conferences and stuff. And he was kind of like, hey, if you're ever looking for something, you'd be a great candidate. Cause I'm pretty sure the way it works is, I don't know. He finds the job that I'm looking for. I go get the job, and I think he gets paid for doing that. Honestly, I have no idea how it works. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'm finally looking. Let's figure it out.
It's legalized pimping is what that is.
Dude, I've been pimped out my whole life. I mean, let's be honest about it. So I hate that you said that. That's like all that I can think about. Like,
No, that's
I'm
not.
pretty-
That's not what I meant. It as like his job. Like honestly, if you think about
Right.
it, like you break it down, it's like, oh, he's like a legal pimp. Okay,
Okay.
they made a business out of it. They just
Well-
stole it from one of the oldest professions in the world. But anyway,
Well, all I'm thinking is that's kind of what the union hall does too, right? They got a bunch of hoes, and they're like, "Hey, hoes, go
Yep.
over there. Like, we got a
Yep.
job." Oh man, that's perfect. I want to be on the other side of that though. Now I just want to be on the pimp side. I'm sick of being the hoe.
Plumber's Local 15 in Minneapolis is like, make me a sandwich. Sorry.
Make daddy a sandwich.
Oh,
Oh my god.
this has been an
Okay.
interesting conversation. We are getting up on time though, and I want to thank you, dude, for coming on. It's been cool catching up with you, and obviously we only wish you the best. But we mentioned it already, but before we go, where can everybody get a hold of you?
Yep. So Viking_pipefitter on Instagram. I screwed up my TikTok and I created 2 accounts and lost the password for Viking Pipefitter. So on TikTok, I'm the Viking Pipefitter. If you do YouTube, Viking_pipefitter. Shoot on LinkedIn. I'm Colton Hankowski. You can find me by my professional name if you're doing the LinkedIn out there. So every which way. And then also, if you guys are in Colorado doing anything with Carrier or need any HVAC part, I work at the compressor warehouse called Low Miller and Company. I'm bringing in every single product that anybody could ever want. So just think about like a blue collar guy on the inside running the parts for that business. So if you got anything going on there, feel free to reach out to me and I'll make sure I can sell you some stuff so I can get my bonus.
Every time
That's
I
what it's
call
about.
Carrier, I get laughed at. Like, we're not talking to you. So I need to call suppliers like you.
Well, and here's the deal, bro. To be honest, like, so Carrier is their own deal. We're Low Miller
Yeah.
doing business as Carrier West. Low Miller and Company, we have a CAD. It's a customer assurance department with like 6 of the smartest techs I have ever met in my life. Like, they put me to shame, make me feel stupid, and they answer calls like that, and they do it. We really try to just do it for the Colorado market, or else the whole country would call them because they're like nationally recognized for how good they are. But I can get you the number probably.
Well,
Inside scoop.
there you go. There you go. Get a hold of Viking_pipefitter on pretty much all the socials. TikTok, I don't know. I feel like TikTok's dead. What do you think?
I get paid.
I'm not excited about it though. Every time I go on there, I'm like, it lost its flair.
You know how it is. I got a repost app. I make one thing for Instagram. It automatically goes to Facebook, which is Colton Hankowski, which is another weird one. My Facebook is my name, not my tag. And then I repost it to TikTok and YouTube because I'm lazy.
There you go. And Andy doesn't post anything.
I don't post anything anymore. I don't
You
know.
post things.
Yeah,
Barely.
occasionally. Stories.
I give him
steak.
a hard time. It's
Food.
like he reposts stories that we tag him in. That's kind of he's got to take a lesson in social media. I never give him a hard time like this, but I am now today.
That's fine.
Take a lesson. You know what's great is anybody's an expert on social media. Like, all people hit me up like, how did you get so big? I'm like, I don't know, dude. You just make videos of stuff people want to watch. Like, there's no secret sauce. Like, Instagram's gonna be like, oh, you got to do this many of this and this many of that. Like, yeah, right. That's not the game. Make stuff people want to watch. Like, that's all.
That's it.
The whole entire thing.
I'll be honest. These days, I just make something that I think I want to watch, and then I just like, okay, cool, and I move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
My deal is make stuff where like you're close to breaking things or do break things. People absolutely love it. They're like, oh, you broke that thing. And you're like, yeah, I did. They're like, me too. And you're like, here we are, buddy.
I've been getting like frustrated or bored or maybe a combination of both. So I think my next move is to start doing things the wrong way on purpose.
Yep.
So that when people get in my comments and tell me how much of a hack I am, they can be right. Like I'd be like, nailed it, dude. You got it. You know? Like, and you think I'm joking right now, but I'm not. I'm actually considering
what you gotta do is get a big dangly earring, dye your hair to where it looks like it's silver, and then wear fancy jeans and shoes, and people will just blow up the comments to not even talk about the work, but just to make fun of how you look.
Yeah, I should just start wearing like a dress in videos or something like that and see what happens.
Hey, whoa. Trademark. That's my thing. I literally came up with.
I'm just saying.
If I see you in a dress, you better believe I'm lighting up the comments. To be
I
like,
might
this
have
was
missed
my
that
idea.
video. I
I'm
might have
dressed
missed it,
that.
or yeah, I might have missed it, or I don't remember it. So I didn't mean to step on your toes. But if I did it, I would have, without this conversation. I wouldn't have. I probably just missed it, and I didn't mean to steal it from you. Well, I'm gonna totally steal it now. But anyway, um, I'm gonna
all
wrap
fair,
this
right?
up, guys. We're at 40 minutes. I'm cutting us off. You're gonna have to come on another time, Colton.
We'll have to finish the story. I talk too much. I know that. I talk for
That's right.
long-winded amounts of time.
No, we're gonna leave them. We're gonna leave everybody hanging, wanting you to come back. It's been a fun conversation. Everybody, thanks for listening this far. Check us out over on YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast on audio, we also have a video version on YouTube. Nearly every single week. I'm trying to be up on updating that. Colton, thank you. Andy, of course, as always, my lovely co-host, lovely, handsome. I don't know what to call you. Anyway, I call you.
Don't miss the video. Like, don't just do the audio. If you guys are on audio, you need to come see the video just to see how handsome Andy is. Like, it's worth.
I agree. Handsome Andy. That's what we call him. Yep. All right, I'm gonna stop. I'm hitting stop. See you guys. Bye.